I have never doubted what God can do for anyone. Just trust Him. Whether when it is good for you or when it is a challenge for you, God is there. Many of my colleagues or friends who joined politics earlier than I did never made it. Some that were lucky maybe had a dint of 4 years, either in the State Assembly or in the National Assembly. And when I came to the National Assembly in 1999, I didn't come to become a citizen of the National Assembly. I thought I was coming to represent my people, then by the Jakusko Federal Constituency for 4 years. And of course, maybe give a chance to another person to also try his or her luck. Little did I know that 1999 will change the course of my life very, very tremendously. From 99, as we all know here, I've been around in the National Assembly as a member of the National Assembly. This is something that one must thank Almighty God for His blessings. As a human being, I owe humanity everything. I owe my people everything. And when I say my people, let me say first, Bada Jakusko Federal Constituency, who first brought me out, and then Yobe North Senatorial District. What could have been without their contribution? So what reason do I have not to represent my people well? What reason? I have no reason. In fact, last week someone said something, and I felt I should tell him what my belief is. That to betray my people, I better leave this place. To betray my people, I better leave. Because they have put so much trust in me. And I've promised myself, I've sworn that I will never, under any circumstance, betray my people. Coming to Nigerians, by the grace of God, we are leaders today. It is absolutely necessary and incumbent on all of us leaders today to apply ourselves fully to address the various challenges facing Nigerians. It is not easy. And sometimes, when you are outside of a system, you think 2 + 2 is 4. Until you get in, then you will discover it's beyond that arithmetic. But there should be no excuses. As an individual, I took a conscious decision that I will always be myself. When we came in 2019 and sought to be presiding officers, we decided we are going to work for Nigeria. And one of our slogans, or maybe the only slogan, was a Senate that works for Nigerians. We stand by that. And in fact, God has miraculous ways of dealing with issues. In 2015, some of you will recall, when I wanted to be Senate President, and God, in His wisdom, decided, no, you are not going to be, someone else would be. Then, of course, Senator Saraki became the President of the Senate. We believe in God. We worked together in the Senate for the benefit of our people. And when in 2019 God said, it is the time, guess what? The 109 senators, 109 of us, have the same mindset, the same attitudinal disposition to making Nigeria better, to working with the executive arm of government for the betterment of our country. And the results are there for everyone to see, everyone who cares to see. Personally, I believe that the Ninth Senate, particularly, and the Ninth Assembly have discharged our responsibilities fairly well. When we said we'll change the budget cycle from that unpredictable cycle to January to December, I recall somebody said it's not possible. In fact, one very important international institution came to me and said it's not possible. I said, well, just wait, watch and see what the will of members of the National Assembly can achieve. Before the end of December 2020, no, before the end of December 2019, the budget 2020 was passed. Somebody could say, well, it's a fluke. Is it? When we repeated the same thing before the end of December 2020, it's not. Sheer determination, sheer zeal, patriotism, the desire to ensure that our country is better. And today, I said this before, that if you are looking for the contribution of the National Assembly, this National Assembly, to national development, look no further than what we have been able to achieve with the budget. So far, by the accounts of the executive, about 97% performance of the budget has been achieved. That is the highest ever since the Fourth Republic started in 1999. Why? That was because we were able to pass the budget in time, and the president assented to it in time. We repeated it. It is going to be that very important legacy of the 9th National Assembly by the grace of God. Senators, distinguished senators, deserve more than commendation. And because for some time, it is true that if we wait for some people to say you are doing well, you will wait forever. Personally, I think we shouldn't waste time. If people think we are doing well, that's bonus. But there are people of goodwill who say so. But we shouldn't wait until others say so. We should say so on what we have been able to achieve. Perhaps that reminds someone. And the difference is clear. We are not starting from ground zero. There are previous assemblies. So, this is an opportunity for me to commend very distinguished senators for being very, very patriotic, all through, to ensure that the last 1.5 years of our activities in the Senate has introduced so much good things into the system. Our economy would have been worse if the budget 2020 was passed mid-year last year, like the practice was. But we suffered a recession of -6%. Now we are in a recession, -2.2, -3, I think, -3.2%. And that is because we were still able to get the budget passed. And the recession, we have been told by the experts, will come to an end probably at the end of the first quarter of this year, because we have extended the implementation period of the 2020 capital budget allocation to 31st March. And that will run simultaneously with the implementation of the 2021 budget in the first quarter. So there will be massive injection of public fund, and that will bring the recession we are going through to an end. What are we expecting from members of the National Assembly? These are the kind of things that when we do, when we achieve, people should say this National Assembly is working. Not to wait until we make a mistake. Mistakes we will make because we are human beings. We will make them. And we will not run away from criticisms. Criticisms are invited. Genuine ones that will make us understand where we've gone wrong. But not to always assume that National Assembly has no value. All that is associated with National Assembly is public fund too much of public fund going to the National Assembly. I don't want that controversy, but once, I think about a month and a half, I said, let's go for value for money. Whatever it is that you invest as a country in the National Assembly, if we are not getting value for money, we should ask questions. If we are getting value for money, that is what is expected. Finally, let me talk about myself. If there is one thing that I think has been a big issue for me, it's not being in the office of the President of the Senate. Because, you know, I'm so lucky to have my seniors who have seen more in life, my peers who have seen things like I have, and those that are a bit younger. But that is what Parliament is. We came with individual return certificates into the Parliament, but we have been weaved into a family. There is nothing one individual there can do, no matter how strong, how knowledgeable, how experienced, without the rest. And regardless of our political parties, our regional or religious sentiments, one thing we have to give this Senate is the credit of being able to be united, of being able to be very bipartisan. In fact, even our worst enemies describe us as a very united Senate. So I just disappear there because it's not about one person. It's not a presiding officer. Presiding officer can only work on with his gavel when the aggregate views have been marshaled. By the grace of God, when we resume, we'll start work on the petroleum industry bill. That is going to be one heck of a legislation that not only Nigeria, but the entire world is waiting, because that will change our economy. Money will start flowing. So we want you to be in that journey with us, so that you too, when the history of PIB passage and ascent will be written, your names will be reflected. And for those of you that have been covering the National Assembly for some time, you know, the PIB is like a demon. Yes. Maybe, you know, I prepared so hard for me to be calling PIB like that. Because that PIB thing, there are people both within and outside the country who will work against it. But it's going to be the strength of our patriotism to pass it. When in 2019, we say we'll pass the amendment to the deep offshore production sharing contract here in this house. We have been spending nights. We close 2, 3 a.m. just working to amend that bill, that act. People didn't want it to happen because they stopped it from happening for 20 years. For 20 years. You bring it, they will come and do something, and then the thing will disappear. So when we say we'll do it, some of them came to me and said, SP, you see, you don't have to do this thing now. It's not going to work. Okay. We say, we'll try. So we started. The second day they came, they say, if you do this, we'll leave this country. Because that will be against some interest. I said, for once, please, allow us to do something for our country. And I laughed. And I said, you are not going anywhere. The kind of thing you do in this country, where else in the world will you be allowed to do? So we are going to do this amendment. In a week, they thought it was a joke. In a week, we finished the amendment. Of course, the House was on a recess. They returned. The day they returned, they concurred. Mr. President knew how important that amendment was. He was in London, and that bill was flown to him. He signed on a Sunday, just to give that amendment the validity that was needed. And you know, for that singular act, that we lost billions of naira, where we were supposed to be giving $2 billion every year. From in the last 20 years, they were giving us $216 million. But from last year, after the amendment, it's now $2 billion. People didn't celebrate us, even though they knew what happened. That was what we did for our country. Maybe we could have gone the other way, but I think we are proud of ourselves as members of the National Assembly, that we have done something worthwhile for our country. That is what we intend to do with the PIB by the grace of God. We will pass the PIB, but we will ensure that businesses here get a very competitive environment, that they are able to make profits and stay and even invest more. We're not going to be selfish, that only Nigeria should have. Yes, because the resources are here, we must get the benefits of the resources here. But businesses, the IOCs who are here, will also benefit from their investments. In fact, oil is everywhere now, so we have to have a legislation that will create a very competitive environment, that we can get away investors in oil and gas from Ghana, from Angola, from Algeria, all to move to Nigeria. We promise Nigerians that we are going to achieve that by the grace of God in the year 2021. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.